This past week I got sick, and not the kind of sick where you get to just lay in bed feeling sorry for yourself. The kind where you still have two kids going at each other like it's a full contact sport, and a wife you somehow end up in an argument with over something that the argument probably wasn't even about. And I never fully recovered from one day before the next one started stacking right on top of it. And by Thursday I wasn't just dragging, I was completely wiped, running on whatever was left in the tank from the previous 3 days. And I still got up, and I still went to the gym, and I still didn't miss a shift of work. And I'm not telling you that as some sort of flex, because it's not. That's not heroic. That's what normal life looks like when you have people depending on you. But this is what I want you to pay attention to, because it's the entire reason why I'm making this video. You don't become undeniable by never failing. You become undeniable by what you do after. You see, the exhaustion from this past week and a half has left my brain so scrambled that I literally couldn't come up with an idea or a topic for a video this week. Not writer's block, just nothing. An empty tank where ideas usually sit. And normally it wouldn't bother me so much, but it's landing on something I haven't said out loud on this channel yet. The videos that I make, the ones that are built for men who feel stuck, well, they have been trending in the wrong direction. Week after week, the views tend to get a little bit smaller. And the irony isn't lost on me. I make content about men who feel stuck, and ironically, I feel stuck. I have felt defeated more than once this month, and there's definitely been more than one night where I've genuinely thought to myself, am I even the right guy for this? I feel like a failure. There, I said it. So this is what's been heavy on my mind all this week instead of a normal script. For the better part of this year, I have been reading, studying, watching what it actually takes to build something real here on this platform. Not casually, real hours. Trying to stack the odds, trying to give myself a higher percentage to actually make this successful. And right now, by the numbers, it's not going exactly the way that I had pictured it. If you have ever put real time and real effort into something and watched it return absolutely nothing back to you, then you kind of already know how deflating that feels. Maybe it's not a YouTube channel for you. Maybe it's the gym. Maybe you've shown up month after month, week after week, day after day, and the image in the mirror hasn't changed at all. Maybe it's your marriage, where you've tried to lean back in, and it still feels like passing roommates in the hallway. Or maybe it's a business or a project that you've put a whole year into and you haven't seen it turn the corner yet. But here's what I want to say clearly, and I don't think it's your character, because I definitely don't think it's mine. Effort and results don't run on the same clock. You can do everything right for a long stretch of time and the scoreboard won't move at all. Not because the work isn't working, but because most of what the real work does in the early stages, it happens underneath the surface, where nobody, including you, can even see it yet. And that's not an excuse to stop checking your work. It's just the truth about why it can feel like failure at the exact moment that you're starting to pour the foundation. So let's talk about what undeniable actually means, because I've built this entire channel around that word, and I owe you a real definition. When someone is described as undeniable, it means their talent, their presence, their value is so obviously high that it can't be doubted, ignored, or argued with. It implies a level of greatness that makes even questioning their worth look foolish. Read that back, because that is clearly not where I am right now. And if you're honest, it's probably not where you are either, in whatever room that you're struggling in. Which means there's still work to be done. I am still trying to figure out this game called life, same as you are. I damn sure ain't making this video from a mountaintop. I am making it from inside the exact week that I just described to you. General George S. Patton wrote something that's been stuck in my head since I read it. I don't measure a man's success by how high he climbs, but by how high he bounces when he hits the bottom. So sit with that for a second, because it flips the entire scoreboard that most of us are using. We have been grading ourselves by the climb, the views, the weight, the streak we haven't broken. Patton's telling you the real measurement is by the bounce, not whether you fell, because everybody falls. What matters is what you do that half second after you hit the floor. So here's what I actually did with all of that this week, because the doing matters more than the feeling. I didn't use the dropping of numbers as proof I should quit. I let myself feel exactly as bad about them as I felt. And then I kept moving anyway, which is different than pretending that everything was fine. I didn't let a bad week talk me out of the floor that I was already standing on. The gym didn't ask me how I felt before I showed up, and work definitely didn't ask either. Those two things don't require motivation because, well, I made a decision about it a long time ago, especially with the gym, but with work, that's an obvious necessity. So even gutted and running on fumes, The baseline held. And that's not me being tough, that's just what happens when the basics aren't up for a vote every morning. And instead of waiting for a good week to make a video, waiting till I had a clean idea, a tidy lesson, numbers trending the right way so I feel like I had something worth saying, I used this week, the real one. Sick, fighting kids, the argument with the wife that went quiet instead of getting resolved, the channel sliding, all of it. Because the alternative was disappearing from this channel until I had my act together. And that's not undeniable. That's just hiding better. So out of that, here's what I'm taking with me, and what I'd hand to you if you were in your own version of this right now. One would be grade yourself on whether you showed up and not what showed up. The gym session counts whether the image in the mirror changed or not. The conversation with your wife counts whether it landed clearly or not. You don't have to wait for the result to decide if the effort counted. Two would be protect the floor and not chase the ceiling. Find 2 or 3 things in your life right now that you don't need to feel good about in order to do them, and make sure those never come up for a vote. Mine are the gym and obviously work. Yours might be different. Whatever they are the architecture holding you up on the weeks that everything else is falling down. And 3, let the bad stuff become the material instead of the reason why you go quiet. And I know what some of you are thinking. What if I do all this and nothing ever turns around? I can't promise you that it turns around on your timeline. Nobody can. What I can tell you is you cannot bounce off of a floor that you can't admit that you're standing on. The mistake is not that the number went down. The mistake is letting that number tell you who you are. And 4, and this might be the one that actually matters. Redefine the win. Stop grading the climb and start grading the bounce. Now, before I wrap this up, if any of this week's mess sounds like your week at all, I'd rather you just stick around and keep building this with me instead of going and finding somebody else who's selling you an easy version of this. There's no course at the end of this video. There's no link, nothing to buy. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I am simply just a 40-year-old bartender trying to figure this thing out in real time. Same as you are. So back to this week. Sick. Kids getting at each other like it was their job. The argument with my wife that took too long to get resolved. The numbers still sliding on this channel as I record this. And I still showed up at the gym. Still made it to work. And now I'm showing up here, telling you the truth about it, instead of the version where I've got it all figured out. You don't become undeniable by never failing. You become undeniable by what you do after. So if you're sitting at the bottom of something right now, your marriage, your body, a project, a channel, whatever room you're standing in this week, I want you to remember this one line. It's from Batman Begins, of all places, right? But it's exactly right.
Why do we force? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.